Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening, ma'am.
evening. Good evening. What a pleasure to be talking to all of you. Good evening.
Good
Yes,
evening, ma'am.
good evening. So, today we are going to understand what it means to have shared responsibilities. We shy away from it, but at the same time, we forget that we all are social animals. Whether it is with family or with friends or at work or even when you're out on a retreat, all of us crave for having, a partnership with people. Now, we want that. We want to enjoy that partnership, but we are not ready, perhaps, to take on responsibility or let it flow as a flow within us. When I say responsibility, let's say right now, I have just returned from the Emotional Oasis retreat, and I know Ruby is here, who was there with me, so she'll understand it. That all of us were there, everything was planned for us. We all had rooms, we all had our own beds, and we were four people in a room for some time. And that meant that there had to be a certain flow that happened where we are able to fulfill our needs as well as take care of the needs of others. How? For example, when you get up in the morning, there are things that you need to use the washrooms. You need to have your first cup of tea. You need to maybe just do your meditation, right? So, when let's say four people were together, it went very seamlessly because each was considerate about the other. Each person saw to it that there was no kind of rift that happened. Each person had no ego in them. Each person was willing to share the load. If one person made the tea today, early morning tea, the other person made it the next day. And nobody asked questions, that, or maybe somebody made it every day, but no questions asked. Why? Because the space that we were operating from and we learn to operate from should be filled with confidence, with that courage that it's okay. If I'm making tea, the other person will quickly have a shower. The third person would make the bed and make sure that everything is neat and clean. And maybe the fourth person just enjoyed that cup of tea and did their meditation. So this is also shared responsibility. I have told you at a very micro level what exactly shared responsibility means. So please remember and understand that you will meet all kinds of people in your life, whether it is at work, whether, in your neighborhood, maybe even on the road. And sometimes you need to delegate that work. You are not Mr. Superhuman. You are a person who knows how to delegate. Delegating doesn't mean that your control or your, um, what should I say, power is gone. That means you are very secure in your own space to understand what shared responsibility means. So today I made the cup of tea, suppose, in the camp, in the retreat, and it was okay. Everybody said, oh, very nice tea. And tomorrow Ruby made the tea, and her tea came out to be fantastic, loved by everyone, including me. Would I be jealous? Would I say, oh, this has taken away from me my space where I thought I was the commanding one, that I made the best tea? No. What will I do there? I will make sure that I don't let that burden me or make it a challenge in myself that, okay, tomorrow I'm going to make better tea to show them that I am better than them, than Ruby, right? So, what happens? That is something that we consider as a fear of loss of control. When we feel that our control is getting away from us, we become what? Insensitive, we become insecure, we become maybe even jealous, and we let ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically feel low because we took a lot of pride in what we did. But here comes someone else whom I asked to take charge, and that person was better than me. So, what will happen? Two things. Either I appreciate that and say, yes, it's good to know. Maybe I can learn from Ruby how to make that better tea. Or I can develop a sense of lack of trust. Who are you not trusting? Yourself. So tomorrow, when the time comes for delegating for shared responsibilities, and you know you don't have the time, or the time has slipped out of your hands in terms of planning, but you will still insist on doing it because you don't want anybody else to do it because that is my domain. I do it over there. I take charge of it. I am responsible for it. Correct? So what do? You have people talking behind your back that it's very difficult to participate in anything with Arati. She's very difficult. She's very judgmental, or she just doesn't allow. She has too much of a control issue. How many of you feel that something like this is experienced by you in your lives, where you have a fear of loss of control and you lack trust in all others or even in yourself to trust others to do something? We are not perfect. Let's be honest about it. How many of you feel something like this can happen in my life or does happen in my life? Anyone? No?
Ma'am, currently it's the opposite. I feel like in my presence, my new colleagues are feeling a bit insecure.
Hmm. Okay, that's wonderful. If they're feeling secure working with you, are you
No,
feeling
I mean,
insecure?
no, I'm saying they feel insecure. But I'm trying to bring in as much empathy as possible there.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay,
But
so
yeah,
sometimes if there are unclear expectations, if there are
mm,
vague instructions that are passed on which are not very clear, as
yeah,
one assumes that they will understand because they have come,
yeah,
they are also with the background of education or the experience in the field. And if I tell them, so somewhere it's possible that you being anyone can think in their mind that I have given clear instructions.
mm,
Why are they not being able to meet up that standard? Why are they not able to perform at that standard?
mm,
So
yeah,
then what happens? You'll have a tendency to want to take it away again. Right? Okay, I'll do it myself. You leave it, I'll do it. Why?
yes,
Why? Because again, did you explain well? Did you partner them well? Did you give them the feeling that okay, it's okay if you go wrong? feel free to come and contact me, or feel free to share with me. Feel free to clear your doubts. Feel free to ask questions. It could be many things. I know we all go through a lot of stress and pressure when we are at work. But if we can do this, what are we doing? We are building up their confidence to take on a new world, to take on a new situation, to take on a new challenge, knowing that they are supported and
Yeah,
knowing someone is there to share their responsibility. Yeah, does that make sense, Aparna?
absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Sri?
Yeah, hi ma'am. I am at the receiving end other way because I
Mm-hmm.
had a long leave taken at the workplace, and after I went after 1.5 months,
Mm-hmm.
I realized there's a lack of control because I was getting used to the latest one updates and everything, and my juniors were updating me. But that point of time, I was like little insecure, and because of other things also, like I was feeling like, okay, there's something, a shift is there, I don't know, I'm really needed right now or not, all those kinds of doubts, self doubt started coming. So yeah, I think I went through that and now kind of settled, but yeah, it is
Mm-hmm.
real because I've just gone through recently and I'm a witness for that.
Right. So shared responsibility works both ways.
Yes.
If something is passed on to you, let's say a new helper has joined your house, right?
Yeah.
And you naturally have to train her, right, for
Yeah.
doing the things the way you want it, isn't it? So
Yes.
what will you do? You'll invest your time in it. You'll invest your energy in it. You'll invest your sort of interest in it. You'll invest your love in it to train her. Because what are you wanting? You are wanting results whereby once that she is trained, her results towards you would match your expectation.
Hmm.
But for that, if expectation means of a daily routine, giving lunch on time, giving dinner on time, having the house clean, neat and tidy, etc. And sometimes if there is too much pressure of work, kind of chip in immediately and say, don't worry, you take care of this, I'll do this. Right?
Hmm.
So what happens? That starts building up the courage and the faith in that newcomer that I can trust and surrender myself to this person to help me grow. Now, I've taken an example of a maid servant, a helper, or anybody, or even a woman whom you trust to look after your children when you're away at work. So you will do things, because, and mind you, you're not passing it on. You are sharing the responsibility of making sure that my children are being brought up with having the correct amount of time, food, and laughter and happiness in their life, and it flows easily from the helper who stays to be looking after them to you when you return from work. Same thing happens at work, isn't it? So sometimes it can be very time consuming, spending that time. Either it's with your child's, development of the career, or let's say talent development of the child is not just the child's responsibility to take up that talent and bring it forward. You are equally responsible for it, right? So what would you do? You would make sure that you take out that time. You will make sure if it is, for dropping and picking up from somewhere when the child is small, and if you're at work or even if you're at home, you will make sure that this happens, even if it means waiting for 1 hour and then bringing the child back home together. You will do it. Why? Why would you do it? Because that is your responsibility, that part. And sometimes just thinking, okay, you do it on your own. The child doesn't feel encouraged. The child may also say that what's the point, that they may not give their best. Or they may shine beautifully outside, but when they return home, they will not give you the same responses. How was your day? Okay. What did you do? Normal. Did you enjoy yourself? Yes. It's possible that we can get these kind of answers. But if you are an equal participant, what are you doing? You are sharing the responsibilities. So when we talk of sharing of responsibilities, it doesn't just mean something that is at a very high level. Even for small things, you have to share and learn to share responsibility. Any questions till now? Anyone? No one? Okay. So there's another thing, and that is that we have to, you know, let go of this need for perfection. That everything has to be exactly the way I think, I feel, I want, I believe. Does it happen? No. And that is where you are overpowering everything else with your need for control because you don't trust others. So, where is the sharing of responsibility? Something can go wrong once in a while, but it's okay. It's okay if something goes wrong. You notice that I use this phrase a lot, right? It's okay. But that's a fact. It's okay. So, if we do not let ourselves be controlled by control, that means by my need to control, I open up to give and receive as much as I want and as much as I can have to feel safe in my space, to feel content in my space, and to feel happy. Haven't you seen a little child? He'll cry out and keep crying, and you'll get up immediately knowing that this cry is for hunger. What will you do? You'll go and make the bottle of milk, or you would already have prepared the bottles if it's a very young child, and that's responsibility. So you would have prepared it, you'll bring it back, you'll warm it up, and you'll give the child the food. That's his food. Once the child has consumed it, he's happy. And when he's happy, you're happy looking at that lovely smile on the face, isn't it? So what did you do? There was a responsibility on you to make sure that you're feeding your child at the correct time. Maybe you got so involved in your work because you're working from home that maybe you missed the time. But that doesn't mean that you are not responsible enough. You got up, you did it, and unless you would have just let the child cry, okay, I'll give it later or something, you don't do that. You make sure that everything is fulfilled. Right? So, any questions till now? Anyone? Any thoughts that you'd like to share?
So, ma'am, you're telling, if I understand it correctly, a shared responsibility has to be two ways. It has to be from the other person also, and communication is the key where you are clearly communicating and understanding each other needs and what has to be done, right? That is how it is.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to understand that silent communication.
Okay.
The responsibility of the child is to grow well.
Hmm.
He's a baby, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But he knows very well when it wants its food. He
Hmm.
knows very well when it wants to sleep. He knows very well when he wants to cry for just for care and love. They do all that, don't they? They
Yes.
give you
Yes.
all the signals. What about you? I'm not even talking of older people. What is
Hmm.
your responsibility? Your responsibility is to make sure that those needs of that helpless but lovable child is fulfilled. So look at everybody who comes to you for help, or is your junior, or at home, or as a colleague, or as somebody who's unwell, or who's somebody who cannot participate, or someone who cannot contribute that much. Any field of life. Never, never, never make that feeling, that a person should feel either small, or you need to control the environment by saying that, yeah, this is the only way it can be done. But understand that silent communication, and know that when you are authentic about it, you will be able to help out and give, contribute as much so that you receive equally in return. And the results are when it's a bonus, what you may get extra from the people. Even money consciousness, it is a responsibility. How you use it, how you share it, how you consume it, how you manage it. Money also says, if you manage me well, take care of me in a responsible way, I'll be with you. So how is money, acting with you? You have the money, you'll make sure that you invest it well. You'll make sure that you spend enough not to live like a, poor person or a pauper. You'll make sure not to be very stingy with it. That is your responsibility. Use the money correctly. And when you use it correctly, money will give you the returns equally. You keep all the money in a safe, lock it up in the cupboard and don't touch it. Take it out after about 6 months, see how much smell it gives. It radiates another smell because you've locked up that money. That 6 months of the money being locked up, if it was in a bank and you were responsible enough to think that when this brings me that interest, I'll be able to do so many things more. But you were waiting that money should come to me, ego. Money should come to me and take care of me. Money says no. You come to me, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. So there's a shared responsibility even with money. Yeah, who's this? This is Neha. Neha.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Good evening,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Good evening.
Aarti ma'am, spoke a lot about relationships that we know, where there is a certain amount of rapport established. But let's say it's a new relationship between partners, and there is like a certain amount of gray space that you're working with. So it's not like you're officially in a relationship. It's not like trust is already built. Emotion, stability or support is provided. So how do you have this concept of shared responsibility in that in that space, gray space, when you're buddy? Because the chances of it going downwards is a lot more than up, because there's no commitment, there's no knowledge of even 6 months of the other person. There's no need to promise that yes, I will change, or see or seek forgiveness and choose differently. How do you have the concept of shared responsibility applied here for the better when there is no base as such?
Right. So what happens when there is a absolutely, let's say, bare canvas? You have to decide, choose what colors you want to fill it up with. That goes for, just a normal, let's say, the colors of life. At the same time, when you know it's a gray area, but you want to invest in it, you cannot be on a fast forward and say, I need results in 1 month or 2 months. There would have to be a lot of time spent. There would have to be a lot of trust, a lot of, a feeling of partnership to develop, because all things are starting from scratch. If you allow yourself that thought that, yes, I am going to invest in it, in my space, in, let's say from 1 to 10. And gradually, even if the other person is coming from their space, from 1 to 5, their 1 to 5. Okay. So that itself is a kind of encouragement to then take on steps to move forward for shared responsibilities. That, okay, let's do this together. Can we try and, I don't know, partner ourselves in a project together? Can we look at having a relationship where there are no expectations from each other? Can we allow ourselves that space, sometimes even to be away from each other? But having the trust in myself that even if we are away, we are working on it on ourselves. That is responsibility. Does that clarify, Neha, for you?
It does, but somewhere I just think it's almost that you're also saying that can we have a relationship where we agree that there is space, or if we have a tiff and I need some time off to process it, it shouldn't feel like silent treatment. But you know what? The minute I say that, give me 2 days to think about it, I'll come back to you, I need time to process it. All those things are the way we feel. But the minute you tell the other person, it becomes expectations, because we need that kind of emotional assurement or support. So then that's where things start to breed in the negative direction. And
Who needs that support and expectations are there? Who has that expectation? The other person or you?
me, because if the other person takes 2-3 days off to think about something without communicating it to me, then yeah, I do feel the need to know like what is happening. I'm happy to give the space, but I mean, like a certain update would be nice, rather than me checking on the third day, like, are you okay, or where do we stand at? I don't want that to be, even if it's not a relationship, I don't want it to be an existential check for what it is, even in the gray space.
Right.
So
So if you know the temperament of the other person, either he or she, whoever it is shy, or more of an introvert, or more of a person who's gauging things themselves. Don't have expectations. View it clearly from the that perspective of that this is how the person is and this is how I am. Firstly, does it meet? Will we meet? Can we meet at the same wavelength? If not the same wavelength, somewhere close to it. If I'm able to do it, yeah, that is fine. I'm going to give it a try. 2-3 days, if the person or you take, I'm going to think about it and let you know. Let it happen. Let the 3 days go. Let the fourth day come. But don't keep expecting a response, because when you have expectations, the clear answer is you're also judging the other person. So that happens similarly to for you. That when you have expectations and you are judging the others are also doing the same for you, for your behavior, your temperament, your approach, your what should I say, stability, your insecurity, or your security. If you're a secure person, the other person will equally feel secure, start feeling secure. But if you show your desperation, it's not trying to hide it, but if there is some form of desperation that comes in, it becomes a problem in the sense the other person may want to back off. So when after 3-4 days there's been no response, even if you just want to say all good, that's it, nothing beyond that. Don't ask, so what next? So if no response is coming, then you take your time, your honor, your dignity in your place, and not look for answers and solutions unless that is the person meant for you.
okay.
Does that clarify, Neha?
It does. Maybe I'd like to talk to you a little more afterwards. I know
We
others
can
have
do
also
that.
raised hands, so
Yeah,
maybe we could do that later.
yeah. So
Thank you so much, ma'am.
you'll get my number from the list of this Circle of Peaceful Progress. It is there. You can call me up later. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Natanya?
Hi, ma'am. Good
Hello.
evening.
Hi.
Ma'am, I have two things. First is when it is about shared responsibility, you're trying to share the responsibility, but there is no acceptance from the other side.
Mm.
And the second thing is if you want to balance, and there is so much on your plate,
Mm.
and you try to say, or you just say them politely or gently that, hey, this is in a form of no, but they don't take no for an answer
Mm.
because they want you to do. So,
Mhm.
ma'am, this I want to understand because there's no acceptance when you're trying to help them or share it.
How
And
does
second,
it make you feel?
no, bad.
Bad is a very general word. How does it make you feel?
I would say that small,
Mm.
and it's like yeah, it makes me feel like a stranger a lot because I'm a part of something, but still it is not accepted. So
Right.
that's what comes to me.
So again, because it makes you feel small, the other people try to loom large over you and take advantage of it. So the responsibility cannot come up at the same level because intellectually you may still be better than them. In terms of delivering or talking, you may still be better than them. But because you have a need to feel small, you will always be overpowered. So then you cannot share the responsibility because you are allowing yourself to be misused for sharing responsibility. Is there a need in you to control? Is there unclear expectations? Is there something that you have always, my God, if I don't prove to them, I'll be considered a failure?
Yeah, the
Many other
last
things.
one. Yeah.
So I have prepared a wonderful recitation today, which is going to take care of all these factors where
That's
we talk
beautiful.
about shared responsibilities and what prevents us from executing shared responsibilities or thinking that we are capable of delivering or acting or doing it for ourselves. Okay?
Okay,
So
got
I
it.
think we need to start that now. Aparna, is your question something or can I do the recitation first?
Sure, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay. So close your eyes, everyone. Take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in a lot of positive energy and breathe out all that does not resonate with you. Breathe in faith, integrity, love, joy, and breathe out fears, insecurity, failures, and vulnerabilities. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Invoke your healing masters, healing guides, healing angels, your higher consciousness, radical consciousness, love consciousness, prosperity consciousness, your teachers, mentors, gurus, and guides. Seek their guidance, seek their support, seek their help to help you understand and master what it means to live in and experience shared responsibilities in such a way that you are able to travel your journey of life in a smooth and efficient manner as you connect to the Supreme Consciousness. Collect all your energies and thoughts wherever they are in the universe. See them, feel them entering you, centering you. And as you feel centered, just recite with me. I transform and transcend my fear of failure. I transform and transcend my fear of failure. I choose to embrace shared responsibilities with courage and confidence. I choose to embrace shared responsibility with courage and confidence. I transform and transcend my need for control. I transform and transcend my need for control. I choose to trust others, to contribute and collaborate. I choose to trust others, to contribute and collaborate. I transform and transcend my need for perfection. I transform and transcend my need for perfection. I choose to allow diverse perspectives and solutions. I choose to allow diverse perspectives and solutions. I transform and transcend my fear of vulnerability. I transform and transcend my fear of vulnerability. I choose to openly communicate and rely on others. I choose to openly communicate and rely on others. I transform and transcend my resistance to change. I transform and transcend my resistance to change. I choose to adopt and grow through shared experiences. I choose to adopt and grow through shared experiences. I transform and transcend my self-doubt. I transform and transcend my self-doubt. I choose to value my strengths and contributions to all people who matter to me. I choose to value my strengths and contributions to all the people who matter to me. I transform and transcend my tendency to micromanage. I transform and transcend my tendency to micromanage. I choose to empower others to take ownership. I choose to empower others to take ownership. I transform and transcend my past disappointments. I transform and transcend my past disappointments. I choose to build trust and strong relationships. I choose to build trust and strong relationships. I transform and transcend my fear of being overwhelmed. I transform and transcend my fear of being overwhelmed. I choose to prioritize tasks and delegate with ease. I choose to prioritize the tasks and delegate with ease. I transform and transcend my resistance to feedback. I transform and transcend my resistance to feedback. I choose to embrace constructive criticism and growth. I choose to embrace constructive criticism and growth. I transform and transcend my tendency to procrastinate. I transform and transcend my tendency to procrastinate. I choose to take initiatives and lead by example. I choose to take initiatives and lead by example. I transform and transcend my fear of conflict. I transform and transcend my fear of conflict. I choose to address all my issues with empathy and understanding. I choose to address all issues with empathy and understanding. I transform and transcend my need to be right. I transform and transcend my need to be right. I choose to seek a common ground with others. I choose to seek a common ground with others. I transform and transcend my self-limiting beliefs. I transform and transcend my self-limiting beliefs. I choose to unlock my potential and capabilities. I choose to unlock my potential and capabilities. I transform and transcend my attachment to outcomes. I transform and transcend my attachment to outcomes. I choose to trust the process and the collective effort. I choose to trust the process and the collective effort. I transform and transcend my fear of being vulnerable. I transform and transcend my fear of being vulnerable. I choose to share ideas and my insights with confidence. I choose to share my ideas and my insights with confidence. I transform and transcend my tendency to compare. I transform and transcend my tendency to compare. I choose to celebrate others' successes and strengths. I choose to celebrate others' successes and strengths. I transform and transcend my fear of not knowing. I transform and transcend my fear of not knowing. I choose to ask questions and seek guidance with humility. I choose to ask questions and seek guidance with humility. I transform and transcend myself. I transform and transcend myself. I choose to be one with the oneness in my life. I choose to be one with the oneness and align my life. I choose to be one with the oneness and align my life. Take a deep breath. Breathe in all these messages today, these affirmations that help you understand what shared responsibility and how it can come about in your life. See it fill your mind, body, and soul. And when you feel a sense of fulfillment, recite with me. I peacefully progress, aligning myself to understand the real meaning of shared responsibilities. I peacefully progress to aligning myself to understand the real meaning of shared responsibilities. I peacefully progress to align myself to understand the real meaning of shared responsibility. Take another deep breath and absorb it. And when you feel a sense of completion, take another deep breath and you can open your eyes. Yeah. Any questions? Anything you'd like to ask?
Ma'am, I mean,
Yes,
I had
Baba.
questions and the recitation actually answered most of it. One last doubt, ma'am, like, uh, you know, at home, the maintenance of home is where I feel a lot of, um, like, lot of anger and rage because there is no cooperation from others to, maintain it the way I want. And when I took the reading, it was more about taking charge than control. So up until now, I don't know the difference between the two. Um, can you clarify what it means? Because it makes me crazy. The situation that I feel is not in control.
So what is taking charge and what is being in control?
Yeah.
When you take charge, you are in control. Now, what is taking charge? Taking charge doesn't mean that you are the one who is responsible for handling everything that is around you. Whether it is the kitchen, whether it's your bedroom, whether it's your family, whether it's your furniture, whether it's your in laws, whether it is your relations, whether it is your relatives, etc. What it means is that you cannot change anything. The only thing and the only person you can change is you, because whatever is happening in your space, you are inviting it. You are making it a part of you where it may not be needed at all. Suppose it is the other people who are domineering or dominating and not allowing things to be processed in the way you would like it, right? So, what do? You don't go against the tide, but you can bring about shift in the tide in small doses. So it's like, suppose, if the morning cup of tea is supposed to be had in the bed and you don't like it, not because of anything else, but you feel that it's nice if the whole family can get together on the dining table. Correct? Just an example. So what do? You can't take charge of others, you can take charge of yourself. So you invite yourself and maybe your family, immediate family, your children, and maybe your husband. If not, just you and your children sitting on the dining table while they are having breakfast and you're having your tea. After some time, gradually, what happens? People realize that they are missing out on something. So they start getting attracted to something that is more pleasing instead of just being sitting in their own room and maybe feeling upset that look at her, there she is sitting all alone. She should be sitting with us. But it's fine. You go, give them that cup of tea with grace, with dignity, and ask them, would you like to come out and join us? It will be nice. We can share some time. If they say no, fair enough. Okay, I'm sitting. That's taking charge. I'm sitting out with the kids. आपका मन हो तो आप आ जाइएगा. It may not happen immediately. Maybe it starts happening after 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. So any change that has to happen in your life, you are the one responsible for making it feel fulfilled.
Ma'am, I would like to understand where I'm going wrong because I'm married for the past 10 years and see, I live with my mother-in-law. So we are a family of four, husband, son, and mother-in-law. She is the exact opposite of maintaining the house because I'm very clean and she's absolutely messy. But I have taken it slow. I have taken it in doses. I have been kind. I've been doing creative ways of managing this whole thing, trying to automate a lot of things. But it's still the same. I don't know what else I have to do to.
Are
Um,
you doing the course with us, Aparna?
yes,
Are you
yes,
doing the
yeah. I
curriculum?
finished the level 3, but still
Okay.
I'm stuck in this
So
in
why
this whole
don't you come
situation.
to open house? That will be a better solution where one-on-one you'll get your answers from the mentors.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
open house doesn't mean that it is only while you're doing the course. It's available for you all the time. All you have to do is become a member of it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
since you know that, right?
yeah, yeah.
So if you're there, the thing is that all the mentors are there to help you, guide you, because look, Aparna, the only person who can shift is you.
Yeah.
So when you shift, things around you start shifting. That is a reality. So, but for that to work, you have to work on yourself. And once you start working and you've lived through 10 years and you're aware of certain aspects of your life, to make it happen, in
Yeah,
the
because
sense to make, it doesn't mean that there's going to be some magic and your mother-in-law will start believing
no,
that's not the idea, because everybody comes with their own stories. Sometimes the stories get intermingled and they need to be intermingled too. But what is the best solution that can come out of it is what you have to work on. Correct?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I would recommend come to open house and get all your answers there. Yeah, because
yeah,
this platform, otherwise, or we should have a I'll have an open house kind of thing here where you all have questions, all the kind of questions with all the kind of answers. Will that be good?
Yes,
We can do
yes,
that
please.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aparna, come to open house and we'll talk over there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Anyone? Nathania, did the recitation make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am, it does. And I'm going to practice for next 2 days, and I'll connect with you on Monday, and I'll
Yeah.
let you know how it is feeling. If something is left, then I'll also join the open house when you're available, and you can address few more things for me.
No problem. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's still here. And
Arati, ma'am,
yes,
uh,
yeah.
would it be possible to put your number in the chat? I'm not able to find it in the group, please.
You want it in the chat right now?
Yeah, I'm in the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay, okay. I'll write it. Okay,
Okay.
no problem. Thank you, everyone. And see you again next Friday. All the best. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.
Like this, ma'am.
Thank
Bye.
you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.